Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Star Wars video. And today, before the last movie of Skywalker Saga comes out, and we'll see if it's really good or not, but today, I want to go back to The Last Jedi. Pretty much, there was a lot of people that did not like it. Very controversial choices indeed. But now, I'm gonna make a remake of it. So the story is gonna be that Disney hired me, and I'm set to remake The Last Jedi, and I have to follow Rian Johnson's storyline, but I have to make it better, than it was. So here's how I would do that. The trailers of this movie were a lot darker than the movie. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? Well, that's one of the changes I will make. One change I will make is this movie will be much darker. Will be made much darker than the actual product. There will be lots of deaths and very close calls for some characters. And a few characters will get beat up as well. One of these include Poe on his reckless mission. He gets called back to the fleet, and finally he complies. And but as he's so close to the ship, he gets shot down. And as his ship is about to crash into the Resistance ship, he injects, and he crashes into the hangar. So of course he's injured, and this is supposed to be like a little bit of a intense, dark moment in the movie that I will make in my remake. Also, at the beginning of the movie, there will be no SJW moments in this movie. There will be an equal amount of men commanders and women commanders. The men will also be a variety of types, fat, skinny, etc. Leia won't call out Poe or slap him in the face. Because one of the problems with The Last Jedi was that it seems like Rian Johnson really liked women. Like, he especially liked younger women that were commanding the fleet, but there wasn't any men commanding the fleet. Oh, and it turns out that almost everybody on the First Order side was white. But in the last movie, of course, they had black people and Mexican people, so now it's equal now. Luke in this movie is a little bit darker than the other Luke, but there's some little hints in the film that something's not quite right with Luke. One thing he doesn't do is he does not throw the lightsaber over his shoulder. He just gives it, backs the way, murders something, and walks away. Now, another thing I'm going to change in this movie is, in the Resistance fleet, they don't have a fuel problem, but the First Order did place a tracker on their ship. They sent some sort of missile thing that put something on the ship, and of course they have to disable it or whatever. And pretty much everything's the same after that. Oh, also, in this movie, Leia doesn't die. She gets most of the people out just in time before the missiles hit the main control area. And Leia doesn't die, and, well, not die, just doesn't get blown out in space only to show her force powers. So yeah, because many people had problems with that. I mean, she can obviously use the force, but she's not that powerful. So yeah. Okay. So next thing, the plan is told, but they don't have a plan to deactivate the tracker then after they find out that's on the ship. So of course they do the same thing. They talk to Maz and like the master code breaker thing, and then they go to the planet. And then but like the animal cruelty scene is still shown in the movie, but there's not like a whole plot based on just rescuing animals. That's not gonna be a main thing in the movie like it was in The Last Jedi. But anyways, after all that happens, the four of these basically do the same thing, but they don't get caught. They escape. They escape from him. They kind of go off the grid, and of course they find that they find that codebreaker guy. Oh, and Rose is still in the movie, but she's like what Poe does. She basically stays on the ship while Poe and Finn go on this adventure sort of thing. So yeah, that's one thing. Basically, just change places. That makes the whole movie a lot better. A lot more relationship between Poe and Finn. So I thought that was a good idea. Okay. Anyways, so let's go back to Luke. So in this, he acts the same way, but he doesn't like. He says that he's disconnected from the Force, but he doesn't like. He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk about how being drawn to the dark side's a bad thing or anything. And later in the movie, it is explained what happens. He is possessed by some sort of dark side Force user, but we will not know that yet at this point. So yeah, he then talks about the failure in Jedi and blah blah blah. The Force connection, the Force bond thing, still in the movie, but we don't get Kylo Ren without his shirt on. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, we get we don't get the story about him trying to kill Kylo, because that's out of character for him, really. So we get some more info on what exactly happened to Kylo Ren, and we get some sort of info that makes him not trust Luke anymore, and then he joins the dark side. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But then then we go back to Kylo Ren and Snoke, and Snoke looks just about the same as he did in The Force Awakens. There is no change to his character. He looks wise and old. He pretty much says the same things for the most part. Except for he does mention how great Darth Vader was. So this is an inspiration for Darth Vader. Unlike what actually happened in The Last Jedi with it's just a boy in a mask sort of thing. So yeah, that was cut out now. The Knights of Ren are in this movie, but they mostly just follow Kylo. They do travel with them. They do get their own ships, they do like attack the Resistance fleet, but they're not in there as much, but they're in there. They do attack the Resistance fleet, but they do walk around with Kylo, and they do talk to him throughout the movie. Okay. So Rey gets more pulled to the dark side because Luke doesn't really teach him a lot about the really any training at all. And when the dark side cave basically calls out to her a lot more in this movie, so yeah. But now we're gonna go back to the dark side cave. So when she gets trapped dark side cave and she falls into the water, of course, the water will bang her against something. She'll be pulled under every 5 seconds or so. So yeah, this is supposed to be a dark moment in the film, and this sequence lasts for about 12 seconds. So it's not that bad, but it's bad. So the dark side cave, instead of showing her that there's just a bunch of versions of Rey, and that her parents are basically nobody in the cave, we do like hear like screams and lightsaber a night in, and then we get shown like this dark room with somebody in a dark cloak with a red lightsaber, and it is a he, by the way. But we hear somebody running away, and then we hear some more screams, and then we hear some laughter, which sounds very familiar, by the way. But we can't put our finger quite on it just yet. So Rey kind of gets scared, and it's like, what's going on? Like she obviously just got a hint about who her parents were, but wow, it was just a very dark moment for her in the film. Anyways, back to DJ. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. So they're off the grid. They somehow find DJ, and like the same basic thing happens, except that DJ says that he can help them, but they're gonna have to steal a ship, and they agree, but they want him to promise them that they won't hurt anybody in the process, guards, people, civilians, whatever. And he says, no problem. So we do that. Kylo has his mask on for most of the film, but there are some times where he takes it off. There are some times. So yeah, Rey still goes to Kylo thinking that he can be redeemed. And that's when Snoke mentions that he's been mind controlling Luke for the entire time, and that it was not only to draw Rey more to the dark side, but it was to get her there and supposed to trick her. He also hints at some sort of dark force inside Rey. and that's why she needs to be killed before she turns on Kylo, or becomes a threat, just like Luke was to Palpatine. So we get some sort of reference to episode 6 there, kind of. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so Kylo says the same thing, and basically the same thing happens. Yeah, but Snoke dies. They fight the guards. Blah blah blah. But this time Kylo extends his offer out to Rey once again. Well, not again. This is the first time. Okay, so he extends his offer out to Rey, and basically, she thinks about saying no, but she says yes after he reveals that he could tell her more about her parents, and that and she joins him because she thinks that if she joins him and she learns his dark side powers, then she could beat him. So yeah, that's kind of a reference to Dark Empire there, where Luke is like, "Oh, I'm gonna join Palpatine to try to see if I can beat him." So yeah, kind of a reference there, but it is a great idea. So so then so then we have this scene right here, of course. And basically, now I forgot to mention this, but after he throws it over the shoulder, he gives it to Rey. He does not do that. But here's one of the things that I need to mention. Yeah, lightsaber does not break in this version of the film because that is such a disrespect to Skywalkers. By the way, this is terrible because apparently you can't actually go through ships. You go into another dimension, so that totally messes up the physics of Star Wars. So instead of this, we're gonna have a scene where Holdo charges up all of the cannons, and then he's like, "Oh no, open fire," because he realizes that she's gonna try to take out the main cannons and save the fleet. So they both fire at the same time, and hers disables the cannon, most of the cannons on that ship, and completely destroys the hangar of the ship. And the missiles reach her ship and damages them quite a bit, but her ship starts to fall apart a little bit and she dies. So yeah, that's what's fixed. And pretty much the same thing happens with Finn and Poe. Just everything just acts out pretty much the same way after that. Okay, so Rey goes back to her quarters, and Kylo goes down to the planet where the Resistance went on and tries to engage with them, but the hangar doors are closed, But then we have like the Luke Skywalker then appearing and basically helping everybody out. And then he faces First Order. They shoot at him, and he doesn't get hurt. But this time, after that, he holds up his hand, and you start to hear a little bit of metal creaking. The bottom of the AT-ATs start to get crushed, and you can just hear the metal getting crushed. And then all the AT-ATs, one by one, fall down. Kylo gets angry and barks orders basically to be let down there. And everything else pretty much plays out the same way, except there's a lot more. There's actually a lightsaber fight because Luke's force projection has the power to make the lightsaber connect with other lightsabers. So yeah, there's that. He does reveal himself to be a force projection, but what really saves the Resistance is all of a sudden, after he disappears, a huge rebellion Republican fleet just emerges from hyperspace and starts to attack the First Order, and knowing that they're outnumbered, Kylo leaves angrily, and boom, they're safe. The movie ends with Rey reaching out to Luke's. Oh wait. Before that, Luke does not die in this version. He is meditating and does look out into the sunset though, but he doesn't die. Just want to let you know that. Okay, so in the movie, basically, greetings are introduced between the rebellion and the Resistance, and that they're here to help. But also, the ending results in Rey basically telling Luke Skywalker through the Force that she has a plan, that she's safe, and the end basically has her training using lightsaber a little bit in her in the dark side room, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we hear some very dark and creepy music go on, and then boom, the movie ends. There you go, people. There's The Last Jedi, my new version of it. Now, I'm hoping that this version would at least be a C+. Okay? I'm hoping that the version will be a C+. I hope that this makes the movie better. I hope that this fixes things. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and make sure to leave a like and to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.